All right, good morning, everybody. I'm going to do a video. Today, it's the 30th of December. It's a Tuesday. We are going to go look at another space today to um, see if that was going to fit. We actually were told yesterday that the first one that we just looked at in the same complex, like basically on the other end of the building, it's an exact, not the exact setup, but almost the exact setup as the one that we looked at that was totally rehabbed. So we're going to look at that one too because that one has not been rehabbed and the rent might be cheaper. It's basically the same size, but I did notice that the offices are a little bit bigger. So we're going to take a look at it and just see if that one could be a good option. And I'll give you guys an update. I'm actually going to do more videos now that we're at the end of the year and it's crunch time to see if we're going to be losing our building to Crunch Fitness because it's still uncertain. We're going to find out today, hopefully, from our broker, if our real estate broker, if that's the case or not. I'm about to pull a trigger on a truckload, so today that's going to happen, and that's going to put us in a very risky position because, like I said, we closed down the store. Right now, we do have eBay running, but pretty much we haven't really been having a lot of sales. I'm going to go over the numbers now. So 18.9 is our eBay sales gross. Out of that, we netted 10,200, 702 transactions or items sold at 26.93 average. Now the whole store is at 21,513. So big difference between being open to the public and rocking off of just 2 days of selling, because we did open up 2 days on a Saturday for two weekends. We opened a Saturday to sell mystery boxes. The good news is we did sell out the mystery boxes. I did pull the drawings for all the winners for the second chance, and so those people have all been contacted. And so now we're gonna have to find out today when we have to move out. I'm thinking it's gonna be January 31st is gonna be our last day here if we have to move, because from what we heard yesterday, there has been no update on what's going on with the drama with the building. So that's kind of like where we're at right now. Um, I do have some other ideas in the mix, but I'm not going to talk about that now. But um, there's also a situation where I noticed yesterday when I was sourcing, calling people, seeing who has what. Um, it's been a big difference since the last time I looked, and what inventory is available. Now, guys, if you're thinking about starting a retail discount store or maybe even a bin store, you really need to have your inventory locked in. And with that, I'm saying locked in hard because right now, yesterday, I called a couple of people that I know that have inventory, people that I've met at trade shows, and everybody's saying that there's the inventory that I'm looking for is already being directed to one seller. So that's telling me, in the meantime, since this whole thing, because remember um, I was sourcing through contracts, so I never had to sit in front of my computer. Once I locked in those contracts, the inventory would just show up in my inbox, and I would just go pick it up. To me, that was an awesome thing because first of all, I was getting direct, um, through a third party. I was getting direct, and basically when I showed up, I can just get my inventory and go. I don't have to worry about um, you know, setting up like a truck to go pick it up. I have my own box truck. So that to me was very convenient. Now that I'm back in front of my computer looking at loads, first of all, you gotta decipher who's being true about what they're selling, right? Has the inventory been touched and touched or built or whatever? And then most of it's gonna be flat pricing. So then you got to determine, is this going to be something where when I get it, am I going to just be like praying to make money on it, or am I going to make money on it? And from what I'm seeing, guys, prices are up. Inventory, it's all the same type of programs, but it's not as cheap as it used to be. So now that I'm like, okay, well, I'm sitting in front of my computer all day, didn't get anything done. Is this really worth my time to source this way, or should I go back to a contract? So we're debating on that, guys. We're debating on, do we take something on where every week or every other week we're guaranteed a truck to be sold to us. The problem with that is it's not a fixed price. It's a fixed percentage most of the time, but it's not a fixed price. So it's going to vary. And then also the inventory, you're not going to be able to pick and choose the type of inventory. If you take a contract, it's pretty much you have to just take what shows up. So I'm kind of debating that. I'm kind of really frustrated about the dropping my Sam's locations that I had. Um, and I'm also trying to figure out, you know, doing the pallet sales and everything like that. Am I going to be able to fill the needs of my customers with the variety that I'm being asked? Because I did a poll on what people are looking for, and it's kind of all over the place. And also what I noticed is there's a big discrepancy on what the expectations are on what this stuff costs for them to buy. So I'm kind of I'm kind of at a point now where it's like, okay, well, yeah, pallet sales would be awesome. Doing my minor markup to make sure that the volume's there, but until then, let's say I buy a truck at a flat price and I have to sell the pallets at a certain price to hit my number. And let's say that truck shows up and it's not as expected. To me, it would be visually, it would be, cost per pallet to be expected. So if I'm shorted a pallet, if I'm promised 26 pallets and I only get 25 or 24, that changes everything, guys. So you got to keep in mind all these things, because if you get a truck that shows up and you pay a flat price on it, and you paid a price based on what you were told or thought, that basically what you discussed was supposed to be there, and it doesn't come in like that. So let's say these pallets come in at 6 feet tall and they're supposed to be 7. That's a big difference on what you can offer to your customers. If they're saying it's 7 feet tall for the pallets, it needs to be 7 feet, because um, basically for me, customer walks in, um, I'm not going to be able to sell it at their target price that they told me that they want to pay. I'm going to have to sell it for a little bit more. So they're already going to be hesitant on the purchase, because they're not going to understand that that's not what inventory cost. But if you show them a 5 foot pallet and say, hey, I want $800 for this, they're going to laugh at you. And then basically that pallet that you thought that you're going to make a certain margin on, it's basically going to be deleted for the amount that you thought you were going to get, and then you're going to have to sell it at a loss. And if you're basing your sales on pallets, expected pallets, that's not going to work. So that's the dilemma that I'm in right now. So I'm thinking the other way to do it is to buy it off of percentage, and then be at a percentage where that you're gonna actually make something every time. So to me, I think that's gonna probably be the safest bet. Um, there are pallet deals out there that I can get that are cheaper, but the problem is they're probably built, they're probably picked over, and what's the value for my customers? And I know that there's differences out there in programs. I get it. If somebody says it's coming raw and direct, and then it doesn't come raw and direct, it's actually sitting in somebody else's warehouse coming to you. That's a concern too. So you got to ask these questions when you're dealing with these purchases. You got to ask specific questions. You got to find out if you're going to be selling for pallets, you got to find out how much you're selling per pallet versus how much you're paying. You're going to have to put yourself a buffer in there just in case something happens with the load, because that load shows up. Who's to say that you try to get a dispute in with the person, and who's to say that dispute just basically just flops and you get nothing, and you have to work with what you got? Because the last time I did that, and I bought a truckload to resell, that's exactly what happened. Sell what you got, and I'm like, okay, well, when we talked, I was supposed to get 26 pallets. You sent me 25, and you said that these are going to be 6 to 7 feet tall. And there was a couple on there that were 4 and 5 feet tall. That changes everything. So that load that I got that one time, I actually lost $100 on the whole load. And not to mention my capital sitting there, not to mention the inventory sitting on my sales floor. So those are the things you got to watch out for. That's why when I'm doing this research, I'm being very careful because I'm learning from my mistakes and I'm making sure that I do everything that I can to ask the questions. And honestly, everybody should be selling with integrity, but I can tell you right now that is not happening. So you just gotta, understand that, and this could be the same thing for bins. You're buying a, high piece count load. They're telling you that it's fulfillment center, but when you get it, it's not. It's something else. It's maybe something that is 10 SKUs or something like that for the whole load. You got to ask these questions, guys. You can't just expect what's in front of you is what you're going to get on paper. You have to ask the questions that meet your business needs, and you need to tell the person that you're buying it from that this is what I'm looking for. Do you have it? Yes or no? And they may say, oh, yeah, I got it. But then as you dig deeper, it's not adding up. So, and that's not tire kicking, guys. That's protecting your livelihood. So don't let these people, push you around. And if they want to sit there and say that, blacklists exist, and I'm pretty sure that we're on a couple of them, just because, when we went to before I got my contracts, we were out, just asking around and seeing what was out there. The brokers were just looking at that like you're a tire kicker, and it's like what they don't understand is it's not tire kicking when we're the ones front line, knowing what our business is. We need certain things, certain needs met, and that's why we're asking the questions. That's why we want to see pictures. That's why we want the whole information up front. And if you can't give that to me, then you don't get my sale. You got to earn my business. You know, the thing that I don't get is when people are selling loads, they're not, to me, I haven't seen a couple. I've only seen a couple that are looking for repeat buyers. The other ones, when they're probably being inundated, whatever. But the thing that matters to me the most is communication. Now, if somebody's answering a couple questions and then they're going dead silent, they're either busy on the other side or they don't want to deal with me. But the communication should be, hey, I'm a little bit busy right now. Why don't we set up a time where we can talk and I can understand your needs, and then I can see if I can fulfill that. That's the answer that you want. So the more questions the people ask you about your business, that's the conversation that you keep going. When you talk to people and they're very blunt and abrasive and very firm with their answers, you could tell right away that this person can care less about the sale. And it's sad that it's out there, guys, but it is. So I think that I'm just gonna have to like rethink this today and find out which direction I want to go, because just the way what I experienced yesterday, I did talk to a couple of people that I did feel comfortable with, but the thing is the product did not meet my needs. There was things out of each deal that wasn't right for my business model, and so that's the kind of stuff that I'm watching out for. So that's kind of like my tidbit on what's going on. So like I say, we're gonna go look at the other location today. We're gonna try to make a buy. The one that I'm looking at right now, it's promising, and it's gonna probably bring me revenue immediately. And then we can also expect that the people that are buying are gonna want to come back for more. So that's what I'm hoping, and I'll give you guys an update on how that goes. And like I said, these videos are probably going to be they're going to be more now that everything's kind of died down and we're just like, you know we're kind of still in limbo. But I figured out, like, the things that needed to be done have been done, and now I can kind of slow down a little bit with being so frazzled with all these little fires. Even though I'm closed, I'm still putting out fires with situations, with things going on. So that's going to kind of start dying down. So now we're going into the new year, where we need to get going, because the cash flow can only go so far if not a lot of income's coming in. The good news is we're stable at the moment, but there could be some rocky weeks ahead of us. So I'll keep you guys informed, and let me know if you have any questions, if you got any comments you want to put in. like and subscribe, because this is not over yet, guys. So thanks for watching. Have a great day.